We're back for another weekend. A COTA race, the infamous Texas COTA race, the survival races, or motocross race of COTA, we should call it. My God, talk about a crash fest.
Absolutely. I always laugh when you do the intro. I don't know why. But anyway, yeah. So COTA crashing at COTA. Yeah, the surface looked pretty bad. Actually, like if you're looking at it on TV, it looked like someone tried to put a bit of bando or something onto the track to impact it. It looks.
It reminded me of a sewing machine. The front of the bike is going like this the whole time. It's going down then the straightaways, Mike. For God's sake, not just the corners. It's bumping all over the place.
It was, to be fair, it was bouncing. Yeah, but yeah, I suppose major drama though in well, like the sprint race wasn't bad, but again, I suppose the only thing that I saw COTA is that everything stretches out a bit. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like the sprint race was exciting for maybe the opening 3 laps, and then it was got it's kind of the most. I don't want to say boring, but it was the boringest kind of sprint races so far. But look, I suppose that was with COTA, and then again when it happened in the main race, after a couple of laps, everything did stretch out. That didn't mean that there wasn't battles up and down the field, but again, I think
it wasn't that many. It was more or less everybody trying to stay on their seat.
Yeah. And
stay out of the gravel.
This race, it was Crashfest at COTA is kind of what I am classing it as. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, like I didn't.
Rins were a hell of a race, though. You got to give it to him. Rins were a hell of a race.
Did you know that Rins is using the original Honda 2023 chassis?
Really?
The original frame. The one they've all junked already, like.
Yeah, like you got the most. What are you going to use for this track? The most screwed up thing we have.
Look,
it's the first time Honda has won a race without Marquez. We always say they relied totally on the rider's skill for 5 years. The last one was with your boy from the Englishman.
Cal?
The Englishman. Cal. And I remember that race. He won that because 5 or 6 people crashed in front of him.
Was that Argentina or Brno? Can't remember.
I think it was
Argentina. I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was either Argentina or Phillip Island, one of the two.
Yeah, I think it was Argentina. Yeah, I was laughing at the start of the weekend. They interviewed Luco Cecchinello, and he was saying, we're back to the original frame, and Rins was saying that because remember at Argentina he had Marc Marquez's chassis that they were working on, and Honda have taken it off him, and he was like, Honda don't really trust me.
Yes.
And I found that quite interesting. So I think there was one, Rins gets on the track.
Yeah, he did.
2, he's not one bit afraid of pushing it past the edge, do you know what I mean, and crashing. And 3, I think there was a bit of fire in the belly to give Honda the middle finger and like say, you need to listen to me now. Do you know what I mean?
That's why Marquez is mad. You saw that. Marquez is mad that they gave Rins his equipment. Yeah, that's how he got Pedrosa out. Remember, he was saying in his originally that's how he got Pedrosa out. Like started getting his stuff. Then I kept asking for his stuff, and eventually they pushed him out. He must be thinking subjectively and saying, "Okay, now he's doing it to me."
Well, but like, listen, look,
they're not. Fair, but,
To be fair, I don't think they are, but I think
that might be in his head, though.
Yeah, but I was listening to a couple of the commentators, and they were saying because Neil Hodgins did a track walk with Rins at the start of the weekend on the Thursday, and he was just kind of saying, and Rins was kind of saying, I think I found a balance in riding the Honda in between in between the V4 and the inline 4. And fuck, did he show us? He show us today and yesterday? But I really found it interesting that he didn't panic at all. There was no panic, and
there was no real expectations of him either.
Yeah, but I was still like, when Pekko went down, Marini and Quartararo started to close, but he didn't panic. He didn't rush it. He didn't up the gas. Do you know what I mean? He was like, it was like that. He was like, I'm comfortable at this level.
Yeah.
But saying that, slowest fucking thing in the straight line, and he did make it a really good admission actually to it. He's like, we're not slower than Ducati in top speed. It's just on grip. Out of the corner, we can't put down the power.
Okay, yeah.
So, I thought it was interesting. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think there's a lot of questions hanging over the Ducati pit tonight, because Pekko, in my view, made a massive mistake.
Oh yeah. He panicked. Somebody's coming up. If somebody's coming behind me, I can't get past. Nobody can pass me. I'll just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Because when he crashed, remember, Rins was right behind him, and then the next thing you see him, it's 2 seconds later, he has 10 bike lengths on him. He didn't, he had made a gap on him, and then crashed because he was trying to make a gap on him.
It was interesting
to make a gap that made him crash. Because you have the best bike out there and it handles the best doesn't mean it can't crash.
True. Yeah, I think, and like it's not that, but it's like, I suppose his comments, Joe, the other week about Joe learning and Joe being a better rider, this, that, and the other, and then he does very silly, stupid things, you know what I mean? Like throwing it down the road, crashing in the wet, you know what I mean? When he doesn't need to do it, do you know what I mean?
It's human nature. It's like boxing. When you hear a guy say, I changed my style for this fight, I'm going to win, I'm going to change my style. When push comes to shove, in the heat of the battle, they always go back to his original style. So he might have kept his cool, but when he started to get pushed on, he goes back to his original. I got to go faster, and push down.
Yeah, I get you. I'm just like, for me, I'm just like, he needs to. Yeah, look, it's very early in the season, and I still think there's an inner confidence there that, look, this is what I did last year. So not that it's arrogance, but it's just like, I kind of do worry about him to be very honest.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. He just. That's what you call the maturity. Notice Quartararo backed off.
He did. Yeah, well, he backed off when Marini came past him. Like, do you know what I mean? He was pushing to try and stay ahead. Now...
Then he went off track. He did. He pushed. He went off track, got back on. He didn't crash, but he came back on, and that's what saved him. If he would have pushed...
wide, yeah.
Yeah, like
I think he listened to his warning. Yeah, I think he listened to his warning. Like, I didn't see... Pekko have a thing like that, but I actually thought, Fabio was very, very vocal this weekend.
Yeah,
very, very annoyed, and like you could really see it. Like, I thought it was quite funny in the press conference. He said, I wasn't overriding or I wasn't pushing it to the limit. And next thing then he goes, well, maybe under braking. Where did he crash? It was under braking. Do you know what I mean? But you could definitely see it, lad. And I think it was very powerful, the words that he said, that the bike hasn't changed much since the day I first threw my leg over it.
Hey, we called it. Remember the second season in a row where they gave him, Yamaha came out with a smoke and mirror show during testing, and everybody said, "Oh no, you wait and see. You wait and see. They're back." And it's, it's the exact same smoke and mirror show they had last year. I bet you it's the
Look,
one.
I'm still going to hold on to my judgment because it's fast down the straight. It's faster, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the fastest and it's not the slowest, Jody, because the engine turned up possibly still, but I think it will be very interesting to see what goes on with it. Do you know what I mean? With the Yamaha over the course of the season. Fabio did say it, and I was kind of wondering, and still am wondering, why he came out with the quote, "I am not asking Yamaha or telling Yamaha to build a V4 because I've never tried one." So he's kind of already saying is like wondering, does my style suit a V4?
Yeah.
But,
I guess his confidence starts to get kicked in the butt, because he's used to being able to push that 110% and be competitive. And after a while, the bike just gives out on him. Same thing as Marquez. I mean, Marquez always won on a crap bike, but then all of a sudden it just got so bad that he couldn't win on it anymore.
He did, yeah. And it was actually kind of very funny. Like, even the BT Sports commentators were just saying, the Honda chassis, when Marc got it, was great. It was really, really good. And then they didn't need to develop it anymore because Marc was really, really good. But the problem was that when Marc is not there, what do you do? And Alex Rins...
Yeah, good.
And Alex Rins now has started to break a mold here. Do you know what I mean? Of like, okay, he's, as you said, he's the first person to win on a Honda besides Marquez in 5 years or 4 years or whatever. So, personally, for me, I think Rins, I think he's adapted to the bike faster than I thought. Now, is this just a one-off race? Or can he continue his move forward? Like, for me, a success is that if he keeps
going, right?
He keeps in the top 10. Doesn't have to win any more this season, but keeps that bike up there, right? Like, if you look at it, this is Honda's first win since
5 years.
No, Marquez won in 2019.
First one without Mark. The first guy without Mark. First win without Marquez. It's been 5 years.
In 2020 he broke his arm, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Second race of 2020. He won the first. Did he win the first one? Anyway, I don't know. So I think it's since 2020 was the first Honda win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's answered an awful lot of prayers. You know what I mean? Especially back in Japan. The board are going, okay, we won a race.
God forbid. I hope they don't say, "Oh, look, it's fine. We don't need that college chassis." Spend that money. Oh, Jesus.
It's very. Look, there's a certain amount of hope for people being given off this, but this circuit is just one of those circuits that you can't actually take anything from because of the nature of the bumps.
Well, even
you don't even have a setup for it. Do you know what I mean? This is one where the rider makes the major difference.
Yes. The announcer said repeatedly. They kept saying, "Don't be mistaken. That this is all Rins." Okay, making the progress here. The Honda still is a horrible handling bike. It's still a bad handling bike.
Yeah.
What do they call it? I'll be honest. I was fucking Bronco, whatever.
I was watching Friday and I was like, Rins could probably do a fast 3 or 4 laps, but after that, he's going to be in trouble if he doesn't have a gap.
Yeah, okay.
Like you could see the fucking thing was all over the shop. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's what I think. If Pekko would have just kept his rate, same, without pushing it, He would have had now Rins would have had to go off his line to pass him, and going off your line with a track that bad is tough.
Yeah, but even if Rins did pass him, do you know what I mean? He needs to learn to sit back, put your arm out the window, and smoke a cigar and just chill.
Today's not my day.
That's it. Do you know, this guy is willing to risk it. Now, maybe there's a confidence there that he can win the championship after the disaster that he had the first few races last year. I think they should make COTA the last race of the season.
Yes, something. I think they should switch COTA over to Laguna Seca. How about that?
Oh, I love Laguna. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
even
Alex
Indianapolis
Marquez was very lucky.
Even Indianapolis was better than COTA.
Yeah. I like the first section of COTA, actually, I must admit. The last bit I'm not too fond of, but the first section
the other 3/4 of this track they can throw away.
Well, that's kind of true too. Yeah,
it looks pretty nice paint job.
The worrying thing. Did you see? Alex Marquez got to the barrier with the bike.
No.
So Martin, obviously on the opening lap, Martin lost the front and took out Alex Marquez. But Alex was still on top of the bike, and the two Ducatis went into the barrier. Now, to be fair, Alex, it looked fairly slow speed when they went in. He got up straight away, but you never like to see the bikes getting to the barrier.
No.
You know, ask Paulo Spagaro. You know, he got a clatter from the barrier, and then the bike hit him again for good luck. Like, you know what I mean? But I think it's kind of it was a bit of a.
You have to extend the barriers because you know what? They've tried everything else. You can't. They've tried slowing bikes up and blah 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 blah, and it doesn't work.
It's not that
the barrier being extended is the only thing. Matter of fact, I remember when they were putting them in the late 80s, the mid 90s, and they had the grandstands on sliders. So it's not that so it wasn't that hard. Now maybe they're at the end now, so they have to redo it. But it's just it's the cost of business.
Well, it's not. It's not actually the problem of the track or whatever. It's fucking Formula One. Because Formula One you have to have a tarmac runoff, right?
Okay.
But the problem is that riders sliding on their arse or bikes sliding on their side slide on tarmac.
Slide on top, okay.
And then on gravel, obviously they'd bounce and make shit of themselves, right? But they'd have less chance of making it to the barrier, do you know what I mean? But these things are crashing at 120, 130 miles an hour. They're just like a fucking toboggan.
Yeah. They go like a stone skimming across water. Yeah.
And then by the time they hit a small section of gravel, they're just literally hopping. Yeah. And look, it is pretty bad. I have to take my hat off though to Oliveira. He was a little bit subdued in the sprint race, but he did some pass on Zarco. I don't know, did you see it? In the middle of of sector 1.
Mm-hmm.
He just went underneath him, and I was like, ooh. Do you know what I mean? And it was lucky that it was Zarco. Do you know what I mean? If that was fucking Bezecchi or whatever, they would have lent on him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But Zarco gave him the space. Jonas Folger didn't do a bad weekend, actually. I know someone was asking why was he down the back. Well, look, he hasn't raced in 5 years properly. He's done a few testing sessions, but I was overall impressed with him. Augusto Fernandez, I continue to be really impressed with him. He's not throwing it up the road as much as I thought he would as a rookie. Do you know what I mean? Raul Fernandez, I'm still jury out him. Man, I just don't know. Joan Mir, what did you think of his weekend?
nothing spectacular. He just kind of rode around, then crashed. It sure looks like they picked the wrong rider for the factory.
He was on a different chassis though to Rins. He was on the updated, not Marquez updated, the updated one from the first one. And how you notice the difference between that one and the first one is that the one Rins has one weld across it. The ones Nakagami the one Mir has one weld across. Yeah, one weld across the frame, and the one Nakagami and Rins has like a T, has two welds in the shape of a T.
Right.
So you can see that they were running. So I was trying to get pictures yesterday when he was in second place. So I was like gung ho to find out which chassis he had. Did he have the Marquez? Did he have? He actually had the original one, which I still can't fucking believe that they took it off him. To be fair, I think it's
the motocross chassis, we can call it.
The motocross chassis,
Yeah.
The motocross chassis. Also, little fun fact for you: this is the last race free of the tire pressure sensors or the regulation. So from the next race in 2 weeks' time in Jerez, tire pressures are going to be
checked,
enforced. So monitored every lap. Or every couple of seconds or whatever it is. So that's going to be fairly interesting. Like, we're going to see someone out now by 0.02 of a bar or something like that, and they're getting disqualified, and you're like, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But look, I suppose all is fair, love and war. Other than that,
you could see a real foul up where you're going to have like the first 8, the first 8 riders, the finishers, are going to be all disqualified, and the guy that comes in 9th ends up winning the race.
Can you fucking imagine it?
Yeah.
Where did you finish? 16th. Where did you really finish? First.
I won.
Yeah, we could have a fucking rookie on the taking the race with. He's definitely guaranteed rookie of the year then.
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely guaranteed it anyway. But like I really found it strange though, and I still can. I know I keep going back to Pekko, but like that's 2 races now. He's fucking 2 main races that he's thrown it down the road. One when he was on 20 points. One like that's 45 points. Gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, so I forget, I'm going to give a shout out to my mechanic in Montgomeryville Cycle Center. He fell ill, so my prayers are going out to him and his family. Okay.
Feel better soon. Yeah. Cheers.
I'm sorry for the abruptness, but I make sure I remember.
Talking about another guy that fell was Aleix Espargaro. I think. Massimo Rivola came out during the week and he's like, I do expect problems between Aleix and Maverick. So I think there's already probably tension in the pit box with it, And it's a bit dodgy, isn't it?
Yeah. Like we said, this track, it's just, what are you going to do? The whole thing, everything's up in the air so far. I hope it just doesn't get screwed up with regulations. The tire regulations thing, I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't even know how they're going to figure that out. I don't think they know how it's going to figure out. It's like a government operation, Yeah. Like, what are you going to do?
In the air, what way is the wind blowing? Okay, we'll go that way.
Yeah. They can't even get somebody bashing into another rider, okay, and figure out if he's right or wrong.
And I suppose, actually, we'll talk about it. The whole... Marc Marquez stay of execution. Now, I thought it was kind of funny that they used that terminology in the state of Texas, right? Because obviously Texas has the death penalty and Marquez with his double lap and long lap penalty in COTA. But I am fairly used to reading the terminology within racing and thing. But I got fucking confused halfway through reading the official statement from them. It was like, do you know what it was like now? It was that the fella that was writing the press release for this, or the actual findings of this, was confused on what the actual outcome was, so he just copied and pasted something in that basically brought it around in a circle.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? And you were just like, okay, so there's point A, point B, but point D is back to point A.
Yeah, right.
And you're just and I was like, let me get onto someone there in Harvard Law and try and figure out, is this actually right, or is this... And then for it all just literally to be that it's a stay of execution until they decide what happens. Now, there is a couple of rumors going around that Marquez obviously was doing a Marquez. Obviously knew at the time that it was not going to be, that he was not going to make the next race. And then he was just like, I don't feel 100%. I'm not coming to this race.
Yeah.
Was it the fact, though, that he thought that he was going to face the long lap penalty there? And that was going to blow his opportunity. Do you know what I mean? That he's already given up on this year's World Championship and is like, fuck it, I'm just going to mind myself. Do you know what I mean? Rather than push it and try and win. Because, like, yes, he learned his lesson from his coming back too early from his arm. But it's, yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's a hand injury. Do you know what I mean? You have another 4 fingers, you can hold that much. Do you know what I mean? So I found it very weird. When these rumors started coming out, was it like, has Mark just already given up? Now, to be fair, right? To be very, very fair, if Marquez was there this weekend,
right,
and Rins won,
oh
fuck,
yeah, the shit would have flown there, because he has an ego the size of a mountain, and I'm a. By the way, I always say I'm a Marquez fan, but you got to call a spade. He would have a fit.
He would. I personally think that he would be, not a happy bunny, and I think he would definitely be, how would I say? How would I call it? He would have to be probably the most two-faced that he's ever been. Do you know what I mean? Because in the press, he'd have to say, "Oh, this is brilliant for Honda. We're delighted. We're making progress. Right. I was on a different chassis, but still, we can get there."
Right? Yeah. Rolling for the team, especially after him playing pseudo manager. They let him play pseudo manager and cheerleader for Honda. Yeah, and he loved that.
And then
which could have created a monster. You know what I'm saying? You let him play manager, right? It happens with employees, and then all of a sudden they go, "Oh, I am the manager, and now I want to call the shots," but you're not really calling the shots.
Yeah.
And somewhere it has to end. That's.
Well, look, Honda are normally known for supporting their highest points rider every year, right?
Yeah.
So look, but I think it would be funny, like, you know what I mean? He'd be all smiles and laughs to the camera, and then the door closes, and he's like, "Wah!"
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? What else is going to talk about? Toprak. Toprak did his test last week.
Did he? No numbers came out on that yet.
Apparently, now this is that he was 0.7 of a second off Franco.
I'd still go with Toprak because Franco's, he's had his chance. And people are going to think that's rotten, but he's had his chance, and you never know if he's going to go back to the old Franco, or is he going to stay down, or he didn't do this well so far. He seemed that was a one-ride wonder.
Yeah, well, Joe, as they say, everyone gets lucky at least once in their life.
Yeah, even a stop clock's right twice a day.
Yeah. So I think, Excuse me. I'm very tired tonight.
Me, yeah.
So yeah, I think for Franco, everyone was hoping that he could continue his Argentinian form in America, and 6 or 7 laps into Friday, I was like, no, status quo again. He did kind of frighten me then on Saturday or late Friday afternoon, and he was in the top 3. But the rest of them then had to put in their soft tires and go, and he fell down the order. But I'd like to see him do well, even if I don't think because I don't think he's a slow rider. Do you know what I mean? I just think that the bike now just doesn't suit him at all.
I always call that he's not good enough to get over the problems of the bike, which is more realistic. It's like Marquez or Fabio. The other riders just aren't good enough to ride around the problems of the bike.
Maybe.
Because it's not like a motorcycle's not like a pair of shoes. You don't have a fit.
I don't know though. I remember.
The settings are a fit, but that's that they can always change the settings. That's the quickest thing to do.
I think, to be honest, I don't know, because I changed from Tony Kart in racing. It was Tony Kart chassis, so the engine and gearbox and tires and everything were all the same. But I just changed. I think it was Tony Kart to Beryl, and it just suited my style of the way I wanted to turn into a corner. Do you know what I mean? And it was just. I instantly gained. Okay, all right. First day out, I didn't gain, but first race meeting, same track. Do you know what I mean? I was already faster. Do you know what I mean? I was already more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
The ergonomics of the kart then suited me as well. Steering wheel was pointed back a little bit more, that you drove from your shoulders, not your wrists, etc. So. It is interesting, and I do think some bikes just suit some riders, and I think the 2019 M1 suited Franco, didn't suit, so going into 2020 didn't suit what's his name, Fabio, and Franco was still on his 2019 at that stage, and then they got to 2021, and like Franco's never really been back. Do you know what I mean? Then he had the crash, of course, with Rossi, when Rossi was in Petronas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it Rossi in Petronas? And I just thought, I think it's time. I don't know whether they're going to sign Toprak. I think the Toprak thing came around very, very quickly, right?
But it's also better for advertising and PR and the whole 9 yards to have Toprak. It's an image. You can sell that image better. He has a much better. I just don't know. More to belly, Franco.
I just don't know whether. I don't know whether Toprak's manager, Keenan Swafulagu, whatever his fucking name is going to let that happen. Because Toprak has come from, and Keenan still runs a Turkish racing academy, like the VR46 Academy, that is heavily sponsored by Red Bull. So I don't see, unless he ends the agreement with Keenan, I don't see Toprak going to a Monster Energy backed team.
I don't know. I think Yamaha wants him too bad. If that was a problem, they would have cut him off already. They wouldn't have the testing.
Yeah, maybe it's the VR46 team. You know, they can I can guarantee you next year, if VR46 go to Yamaha, that's going to be a second works team rather than.
Yeah, it would have to be. It would have to be, because why would you switch? off, and on to go to the bottom. You want to guarantee at least to be the factory team, have some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
As an owner,
Oh, you have to. And the bikes need to nearly be given to you free.
Yes.
Like one probably thing that we didn't factor in, when we were talking about the switch over, or maybe even Vegas didn't factor in when he made the announcement that it would probably be VR46 Yamaha next year, is what happens if Bezzecchi is in the fight for the championship this year, or Marini on a Ducati. They'd be mad then to move.
Yeah, well, Ducati want to keep Bezzecchi. I think Marini's on thin ice.
But we were talking as well there about Yamaha and who are they signing, and like all indications we've heard, or I've heard anyway, is that it's Martin. So it'll be Fabio and Martin next year. So Toprak could go into the VR46 team, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? Take less pressure.
Yeah, true.
Rather than being in the works team and have to struggle, because, like, realistically, the Ducati, I don't think Yamaha are going to bring out an all-new or one M2 that will be able to match the Ducati. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to happen. If anyone is going to revolutionize their bike, I would believe it's going to be Kawasaki, right? Because it's the oldest fucking thing on the grid, right? Do you know what I mean? And it needs an update, whereas the R1 is still relatively current. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, actually, it's been around for 5-6 years.
Yeah. It's relatively current. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It probably does need an overhaul, but anyway, I think, I don't think Toprak wants to stay in Superbike. He has the itch, so I think
he has the itch, right?
I think there's there'll be give there. My worry is, as I said, the manager Keenan Swaffo, whatever his name is, let's call him Waffles. He will have a lot of say in it, because I do believe that he has a long-term management deal with Toprak, like, you know.
Yeah, but
Well, sure, look, we'll wait and see, though. We'll wait and see. What else was I going to say to you? Did you see Vinales' start?
Yeah, not too good.
It actually looked like that he was stuck, or he forgot to put the fucking thing in gear and go. And he did the exact same thing yesterday. So it's kind of weird. If I'm very honest, it's kind of weird.
What I always say about Vinales, it's not about if he has a full tank or a less tank or less gas in it. It's whatever Vinales shows up for that day. You know, do you have sausage and egg for breakfast, or you have bacon and egg for breakfast? Whatever. You don't know what's happening.
True, but I suppose one of the greats in road racing is a guy called Bruce Anstine, and he could wake up today and decide I'm going to win the TT, or he's just like, nah,
not bad day.
Just like, nah, not feeling it. Do you know what I mean? I'll ride around, but I'm not going to push it. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of get that thing, but I think Oliveira. Okay, so Aleix crashed out, and Oliveira finished just behind Maverick. So, I think there's a lot going to happen within the Aprilia thing. At this stage, Raul Fernandez, Sorry. So Raul Fernandez, I think, is not doing himself any favors at all. And right. I think 2020, I think he might have a contract with them for another year, but it's a waste of money, I think. He's not doing anything.
You know what? This is the back to the race. That this is. I think we're out of the survival race rounds, aren't we? I don't know why they always put them on the beginning of the year too. You ever notice that?
Yeah, it spices it up. You know.
They always have who's going to win. Who knows?
I think they should put them at the end.
I don't know. God, COTA. COTA. I just figured, can't they find another venue somewhere in the goddamn world in COTA? It's just too rough. It's a car track. It's all beat to hell.
Well, that's because the Americans, you know what I mean, with your big V8s and your half-ton tires and NASCARs and
family tree goes straight up. Yeah, family tree goes straight up. Daddy says I'm the best kisser in the county.
But look, I think like the surface, and look, it's not built on the most stable ground either. So,
another reason to get rid of it.
Yeah. But where are you going to go?
God, you look at the stands. There's hardly anybody in there.
Well, even in Formula One now, to be fair, it's not full either.
See, it's gone.
But it's too big. So, like, it's like a 2-minute lap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Have a nice technical track with one big long straight.
But that's what, in my view, that's what Laguna Seca was. It was a really technical track.
Right.
No runoff. Do you know what I mean? But like that's a balls track as well. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
You got to ride it like you stole it. But like I hated. What was that one? What was the other one?
Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you came off they went into the infield, which was like a go-kart track, 8 foot wide, for all these bikes trying to make it through. And then you came out on the wide track, and it was just such a
boring racetrack, and it was just trying to make the shoot fit. Do you know what I mean? We need some turns. Okay, well,
put some here. Yeah,
it was like they went out there now in the JCB and they just pissed and. Yeah.
Can somebody move the falafel stand? We need that for turn 7.
Yeah, exactly. But then saying that, look, I suppose when you look at, it does need the marketplace in the States to grow, but it needs a great track as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's one of the things about Valencia that I think is so good about the track is that nearly anywhere that you sit in Valencia, you can see the whole track. The riders never go out of view.
But the track itself is supposed to be less than less than great. Let's put it that way.
Valencia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, it's. Like you can see it, you're there to watch a race, not to watch a corner.
Yeah. Well, it's true. It's true.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like for example, my favorite spot to sit in Catalonia is actually the downhill. I think it's turn 6, because basically, if you're sit up high in the grandstand, you can see them coming down the start-finish straight through turn 1, turn 2. Look over the back of the grandstand. You can watch them going around turn 3. You lose them for turn 4 and 5, and then you see them coming down breaking into the downhill trick, which is where a lot of people crash actually. And then you see them down the chute again. So you actually see them for 5 or 6 corners. Do you know what I mean? And for me, that's what it's about. Like where I'd be fucking pissed off if I just saw him in a hairpin.
You know what actually worked? Remember we had the pandemic and they had you went to Imola twice, right? And you went to Misano twice instead because they didn't have enough track. That worked out great because they just picked all the nice tracks and you went there twice. As a spectator, or TV spectator, that was the best.
The nice tracks were stuck in Europe. Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, look, that is always an option, but I think look, I enjoyed COTA. I actually enjoyed watching the slipstream down the straights. Do you know what I mean? Looking at who's fucking like. There was at one stage, I can't remember who it was, and They just pissed past him, like, and you were just imagining the fella that was held on the bubble, looking across at your man, just pissing past him, like, and he's just like, going, for fuck's sake,
Yeah.
but like you could see, and actually you could see it with Fabio, like he's not bullshitting that he's making a lot on the brakes, and Rins as well, but like you could see them like a Ducati would. What I found amazing with the Ducati is that it would come into the braking zone, especially into, is it turn 12 is the end of the straight?
Yeah.
The front the rear would lift, right? But it was that connection and the immediate connection to the bike that sorted itself out as soon as that rear wheel touched the ground again.
Right.
Whereas you watched the Honda or the Yamaha, they were like, do you know what I mean? It was like, this might or might not stop. Like, do you know what I mean? But every time with the Ducatis, they hit the brakes, the rear wheel went up, they modulated the brake, the rear came down, and it just sorted itself out, touched the apex, gone. It was touch and go for the Honda and the Yamaha, to be very, very honest.
It seemed like the Ducatis, when they hit the bumps, they didn't like the bumps.
They didn't. None of them. None of them. And that was it. Like I genuinely was convinced today, before the race, was, first of all, there was tire wear, but second of all, I was like thinking to myself, there's not one bike out there has a setup for this race.
Right. Exactly.
Every single rider there is fucking winging it.
I was wondering if Honda didn't have the best setup, even before the race setup. With all the wins they had there, it might not be good for anything else. But maybe if they had, I wonder if they have that COTA setup, that goofy ass setup, motocross setup down where nobody else does. But then all the other Hondas crashed, so that shot my theory of that down.
But you could see how good Rins was on the brakes, and I think that's made a massive difference, because like he was slow down the chute, like compared to everyone else. And when I mean slow, when I say slow, I mean slow, like I mean almost 20 kilometers an hour slower.
I have a feeling I'm going to miss Fabio, because I really like that. He's my favorite rider. Okay. I'm not a fan person whatsoever. I'm emotionless. But when it comes to Fabio, I say he's such a good rider and he's pushing so hard. I feel for him.
Yeah, man.
He looked like somebody had to drag him over there. He's third. Oh, let's have an interview. It was like, you could see him like they almost had to drag him over there. Like somebody was pushing him, like, go, do the interview. Just
smile, fucker.
Yeah.
So, I was
like, all right, I'll do it. Yeah. Okay.
That was like the family portrait, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I don't look
slap on the back of the head, smile.
Hi, Fabio. Yeah, what do you want?
Yeah. Well, look, he's not a happy bunny. He's not a happy bunny. He seemed pretty pissed off. Now, look, saying that, this is his highest finish so far this season.
Yeah, but he said, I was surprised. He said, "I'm down in top speed." I wonder if did they turn his bike down yet?
He did 210 anyway, miles an hour.
Okay.
I was watching it live when he did that. So that was 346, 6 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
Which isn't too far off.
No, it's not too far off. No. It looks like they gave up everything. I said that on the site. I said it seems like they gave up acceleration. This is the mid range. Drive off of corners, everything to get that top end. And they just.
I think so too.
They cut the arrow. It's almost like they cut the arrow. I was wondering if they changed the pitch on the arrow. It doesn't even seem like they have downforce grip on it for the arrow. Everything seems to have been dulled out to get that top end.
Maybe
it has acceleration coming off a corner, or even mid range when they do like a roll on it. It seems like it just gets left behind.
Well, they seemed okay in Argentina, right? They seemed okay top end wise when they were not coming out of a slow corner, but I think it was kind of exaggerated towards the end, especially when Marini went past him.
Right.
You could really see that the power of Ducati. Do you know what I mean? like it did kind of leave him, my view, standing a little bit dead. Do you know what I mean? But saying that, look, I think it will certainly be interesting to see what Fabio's going to say over the next couple of races. Because at the end of the day, he was not fucking happy at all yesterday, and was pretty, how would I say, pretty open with his thoughts of
and you know, somebody got to him and say, listen, don't go off. You know what I mean? So he's tempering himself. He really wants to say more. You could see it.
Oh yeah.
He wants to go off and say this thing's a piece of shit, and you know, he's trying to be PC as much as possible. But you know, youth can get in the way there sometimes. You can only so much.
Look, it's emotion. Like you have to see it, I suppose, from their point of view, or the writer's point of view. Like they're out there putting their fucking lives on the line, and you're at times getting nothing. Do you know what I mean? Now, Bezzecchi is still leading the championship after today.
Yes.
You know, which is
Pekko only lost a point, to be honest with you.
Huh?
He only lost a point. All that.
Yeah. Well, he didn't really, because what was Pekko? Pekko was 2 points.
He was behind. He was 10 points behind before the race. Now he's 11 points behind.
Okay, I thought it was a little bit more.
No.
Surely no. So Bezzecchi finished 6th.
Yeah.
And Pekko scored nothing. So.
Right. They're telling you, it's 11. He's 11 points. It's Bezzecchi, and then there's Pekko is 11 points behind, and Rins is 17 points behind.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I forgot about the sprint race. So going into this round, so Pekko scored 12 points and Bezzecchi scored 14 points this round. Big winner this round was Alex Rins with 34. And that's, I suppose that's the thing, like you look at it now, the championship is Marco Bezzecchi, 64 points, Pekko, 53, Rins, 47, Viñales, 45, Zarco, 44, Marini, 38, Quartararo, 34. So Quartararo is 30 points behind. Now, look, saying that,
I know there's 737 points available, something like that.
Huh?
I think there's the total points available are 700 and something, 737 points. I don't know how they came up with that.
Yeah,
735 points, something like that, available. So,
is it 12 points for a win in the sprint in 25? So it's 37.
Yeah, it's half. So it'll be 25. It's 12 and a half points.
It's 12. Yeah, I know. So yeah, look, it's definitely interesting. It's going to be an interesting season, and I do want to see. I would like to see Johan Mir do well. Actually, just looking at the championship there, Johan Mir is still behind Marquez.
How did Rins do in the first race? Refresh my memory.
How did Rins do in the first race? Oh, the first race weekend, he scored 6 points.
That's the main race, right? Not the.
No, in total over the weekend, 6 points.
Total over the weekend. Okay.
Argentina was 7 points, and then 34 points.
Okay. So it is really a 1.1. It's a one race wonder on that.
Yeah, like it'll be interesting to see how he does in Jerez, if he can carry this. Not even carry this race win form, but if he can carry top 5 form with him,
yeah,
he's cracked it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's my view of it anyway.
Well, that's about it, I guess. I said it's not much of a weekend. It's.
Well, look, it was good, but I think the weekend. I think just with the race, especially with COTA this weekend, the race just got spread out very early. So then I kind of lost the only dramatics were the crashes. Do you know what I mean? Whereas it wasn't the dramatics of the passing. So yeah. So look, thank you again very much for your company, Jake.
You too.
But sure, we will catch up again, no doubt, later on. We have some exciting news coming up. People with an exciting guest coming on in the next few weeks.
All right.
So thank you very much, and sure, look, we will see you in the comments during the week.
Take care,
Peace
folks.
out.